Welcome, comic lovers. Old Comic Guy coming at you with another comic haul. This one is from the TNA Facebook show. So the Monster Comics does on Fridays. So I got this, and let's see what I got, shall we? Some pretty fun stuff. At least I think so. So we have Undersea Agent. So this is kind of one of the Thunderbolts. Maybe not quite. He's Lieutenant Davy Jones. It has multiple stories. This is Undersea Agent number 3 for Tower Comics, 1966. Steve Skeets wrote all the stories. The art, let's see, 2 of the stories, Ray Bailey, 1 story, Gil Kane, 1 story, Mike Sikowski, 1 story, John Gionta. So different people, different stories, pretty cool. Adventures of Lieutenant Davy Jones. And then I found this awesome Batman 100-page. This is issue 255. They did an auction for this, and it got up to $26 and didn't get any higher. So pretty awesome. Currently this one goes for about 32 or so, 35. So this is 1974. Covers Nick Cardy, Neil Adams, Tatiana Wood, Gasper Saldiano. There is 6 stories in here. First story is written by Len Wein. The art's Neil Adams and Dick Giordano, and it's the first appearance of Anthony Lupus, who's the werewolf. Let's see. That was the first one of the 6 stories. Let's see. I think that's the only one that wasn't a reprint, now that I'm looking about it. So the first, Batman's Father, the first Batman, is a reprint from Detective Comics number 235. Writers Bill Finger and Sheldon Moldoff. The True False Face of Batman is a reprint from Detective Comics number 363. That is Gardner Fox, and then the art's Carmen Infantino and Sid Green. What else? Let's see. Oh yeah, The Outsider Strikes Again. That's the Alfred story. That is from Detective Comics number 340. It is writers John Broome, art Sheldon Moldoff and Joe Giella. The Dupe Domestics, which is Alfred also. That was Alvin Schwartz, Bob Kane, and with Bob Kane and Jerry Robinson on the art. And that's a reprint from issue 22, Batman issue 22. And Alvin Schwartz left National in 1958 after a disagreement with Mort Weisinger, who was the new Superman editor. And he began with All American Publications. He had began with All American Publications in 1939. He's no relation to Julius Schwartz. I actually did think that, and then I had to check. And then Crazy Quilt comes back. This is Ed Heron with Jim Mooney on art, and it's a reprint from Star Spangled Comics number 123. Ed Heron, like a lot of people don't know him very well. So Ed Heron began in 1937 in comics. He co-created the Red Skull, Captain Marvel Jr., amongst many others. He died in 1966. During World War II, he wrote for the Stars and Stripes magazine, where he had met Kurt Swan, and Ed was actually the one who directed Kurt Swan to DC Comics, National at the time, which Kurt Swan ended up here for so long, as the traditional Superman. So that's pretty cool. Or traditional Superman artist. Anyway, some pretty cool stories. This one's from 1974, and I just thought it was awesome. And then, oops, grab two. Detective Comics number 1000, right? This covers the 1950s variant by Michael Cho. There's 11 stories. Okay. 6 stories. 1 that wasn't a reprint. 11 stories. I don't think any of them are reprints. So let's see. Some by... Let's see if I can list them all. All right, ready? Okay. Scott Snyder with art by Greg Capullo and Jonathan Glapion. Kevin Smith wrote one with art by Jim Lee and Scott Williams. Paul Dini wrote one with art by Dustin Nguyen and Derek Fridolf. Warren Ellis wrote one with Becky Cloonan on the art. Denny O'Neil. So this came out in 2019. Denny dies in 2020, but he wrote one. His is actually the return to Crime Alley, and it's art by Steve Epting. Brian Michael Bendis wrote one, and Alex Maleev did the art. Who else? Oh, Christopher Priest did one, and the art was by Neil Adams, of course, who we lost in 2022. And I shared in the last one about Christopher Priest, right? Baptist minister, not the sci-fi writer. Usually goes by either Priest or Christopher J. Priest or Christopher James Priest, just so there's no confusion. He really doesn't want to confuse himself with the guy. So yeah, let's see. What else? Jeff Johns and Kelly Jones. So Jeff Johns, writer, Kelly Jones is the art. Tom King wrote one with Tony Daniel and Joel Jones. James Tynion IV wrote one with Alvaro Martinez Bueno and Raul Fernandez. And then Peter Tomasi did one with Doug Mankey and Jamie Mendoza. Yeah, I don't think, and none of these, to my knowledge, were reprints, which is pretty cool. They had a lot of different covers. This is the one they were doing on the show, so this is the one I got. But pretty cool. And I'll be honest, this cover price on this is $9.99, and I got it for basically cover price. What else? Oh yeah, OMAC. This is from 1974. This is number 1. Pretty cool. It's a VF, maybe a fine VF, a VF fine. Writers Jack Kirby, artists Jack Kirby and Mike Royer. This is the first appearance of OMAC and Buddy Blank. Interesting thing on this, Carmen Infantino is the executive editor at this time for National, I guess. Yeah. No, maybe DC at this point. I don't know. Pretty crazy. We don't often think of him in that role. But yeah. So pretty awesome. Of course, there's a ton of firsts in that. So, and then I found G.I. Joe, The Real American Hero #3 from Volume 1. This is from 1982. Larry Hama is the writer. Herb Trimpe is the Herb Trimpe is the artist. Bob Hall and Al Milgrom did the cover. So G.I. Joe's kind of funny, right? Because I remember G.I. Joe and it was one, right? It was just one action figure. And then you changed his uniform, right? And if you changed it to the Marine or the soldier, he was Rocky. And if he was the Navy guy, I think it was Skip. And the pilot was Ace, right? Anyway, Hasbro, 1963. Originally, they were 12-inch. First use of the word action figure, which is what we use today, instead of doll. Your mom. Go get it. Huh? Oh. The G.I. Joe name was originally used around 1965-66. And to compete or match the Kenner's Star Wars figures, Hasbro was going with more articulation and were relaunching them as 3.75-inch figures. With an ongoing comic, you see here. Of course, they licensed that with Marvel, and an animated series, so they would really move their stuff. Star Wars had the claim of Star Wars, right? It was going to pull its stuff. So just some interesting history of, and Marvel was doing a lot of those, right? Shogun Warriors, the Micronauts, ROM. I think they did GoBots and then the Transformers. So they were just like really into that. If it was going to be a TV show or toys, they wanted to get licensed. Avengers number 280, Volume 1. This is 1987. Covers John Buscema and Tom Palmer. Art inside is Bob Hall and Kyle Baker. The writer's Bob Harris. And then this is Wildstorm Summer Special. And if you look closely, that is signed by Adam Hughes. And, wait, yeah, it's over here. Okay, and signed by Joe Phillips. Covers Adam Hughes. 3 stories and 5 or 6 pinups, and 5 to 6 pinups. Warren Ellis wrote one of the stories with Cully Hammer and Carly Story as the art. Another one is Paul Jenkins with George Gentry and Carl Story as the art. And then another story is Brian Azzarello and Brian with Brian Stillfreeze and Carly Story on the art. Joe Phillips did do one of the pinups, along with Chris Sprouse, Jason Pearson, Mike Waringo, and Tony Harris. So pretty cool. I know he wanted this to go for more. This is BF plus at least. I might go VF just to be safe. He put it up on an auction at $6 beginning price, and nobody was bidding on it, so I felt bad. I got it, $6. Pretty cool. And then Deja Thoris. So this is number 1 of volume 3, 2019. Again, this is the age of covers. I think there were like 26 different covers of this. Dan Abnett did the writing. Vasco Georgiev did the art, and Luco Perillo did the cover. This is for Dynamite. And so Deja Thoris, John Carter, all of the Barsoom stories have a special place in my heart. I remember reading Edgar Rice Burroughs' stories in things like Amazing Stories and stuff like that, and just so I got, I have all the books, and I'm a big fan of Edgar Rice Burroughs and the old pulp stuff. So not just because it's pulp. Genuinely, I enjoyed the stories as a kid. That's really what it boils down to. I enjoyed the stories as a kid. Then we have some awesome X-Men goodness. So this is issue 177. So the Uncanny X-Men officially ran from issue number 142 to 544, and then it repicked up the numbering for 600. So that's from the 80s through 2011. And then 2016 was when 600 came out. Between those, it was called just the X-Men usually. This one's from 1984. Stories told from Mystique's point of view. Writers Chris Claremont. The art and the cover are both John Romita's. So John Romita Jr. did the pencils. John Romita Sr. inked it for both the cover and for interior art. And this is part of Assistant Editor Month, which sometimes, and it has the warning, right? That's why I bring that up. It has that kind of cool warning, but really just an awesome cover too. And I like the old X-Men, so. And here we have another kind of cool cover. This is issue 195. This is from 1985. Writers Chris Claremont, arts John Romita Jr. and Dan Green inside. Cover is Bill Sienkiewicz and Dan Green. This story leads directly into Secret Wars number 1, and there's kind of a weird. I read Power Pack. Can we go there? We're okay. I was young. All right, so I read Power Pack. There's an error in here. In here, the Powers family's landlord is Mr. Garcia. So in here, he's called Mr. Ortiz. But actually in the series, he's called Mr. Garcia. So just, I don't know. Chris didn't know the difference. I don't know. He also was not writing Power Pack, right? Let's see. Captain America. So this is issue 275 from 1982. So I mentioned about changing names, right? So Captain America Comics, 1941 to 1949, issues number 1 through about 73. And then there's a change in the name for the next 2 issues, 74, 75. Yeah, so it had to be 73, because 74, 75 are called Captain America's Weird Mysteries, Weird Tales. Captain America's Weird Tales. So that's 74 to 75, 1949 to 1950. And then it changes to just Captain America. From 76 to issue number 76 to issue number 78. That's about 1954. And then this series, also Captain America, numbering 100 in 1968, runs through issue 454, and that picked up from Tales of Suspense number 99. And it runs through issue 454 in 1996. Volumes 2 through 5 happen. I'm just saying they happen. And then it begins again, and it's saying it's volume 1 at issue 600. And that was 2009. And that runs through about 619 in 2011. And then volumes 6 through 8 happen. And they have their own numbering. And then they pick it back up with volume, instead of having like volume 9, they just go back to the numbering as number 695 through 704, and that's about 2018, 2019-ish. Then volume 9 happens, and then Symbol of Truth happens, which is kind of like volume 10. So it's very weird, but I understand that they're going to be going to continue the numbering from this series again after Symbol of Truth is done. Yeah. And all this just to keep a license, licensing with the post office. I don't even think they have to worry about that now. Now I don't think they're doing it because of that. They're doing it because, oh yeah, this might be the next book to get to 1,000 or something. So anyway, the writer on this is J.M. DeMatteis. Art is Mike Zeck with John Beatty. And that's who does the cover. This is the first time Helmut Zemo. Let me try this again. This is the first time Helmut, not a helmet, but Helmut Zemo appears as Baron Zemo II. First time that happens is in this issue. Anyway, pretty cool. There's a whole convoluted history there, right? And then, of course, it's been retconned and everything else. Okay. An awesome old Thor. So this is Thor number 184. Oh, man, we got to go there again. Right, it's Thor. Technically, Journey into Mystery, right? Issues 1 through 125. What was that, 52 to 66 era? And then it goes to Thor with this one, with this series from issue 126 in 66 to issue 406 in 1989. Interestingly enough, they just changed the name. They kept the numbering. So the Mighty Thor, which is 407 in 1989 to 490 in 1995, is called the Mighty Thor. Then it goes back to Thor. In 95, for 95 and 96, and that's issues 491 to 502. Then it goes to Journey into Mystery and Thor, volume 2 and 3. And then they pick up Thor 600 to 621 in 2009 to 2011. Then Journey into Mystery again and Mighty Thor. So we'll see. Maybe this will be the next Marvel. I don't know. Like, it really kind of got... so let's talk about who did this. So this one is Stan Lee's the writer. John Buscema with Joe Sinnott did the art and the cover. There's some stuff inside here that's Bill Everett's work. He was uncredited inside. But you can look it up. He's actually done some work on this. So I thought that was pretty interesting. Uncredited, like, that happened a lot. And in the Golden Age, a ton. But that was even happening in more recent stuff. So I also got this Avengers number 24. This is volume 8 from 2019. It is a wraparound cover of Captain Marvel, Binary, whatever we're calling, Miss Marvel, whatever we're calling her. The cover's by Greg Land. It is a variant, obviously. The writer's Jason Aaron. Art is Stefano Caselli and Luciano Vecchio. And interestingly enough, I found that guy when I first saw his work, Luciano. I saw it on DeviantArt. He was doing some stuff, and so that's where I saw him first, before he ever broke into comics. And I think that's pretty cool. This is part 3 of the Challenge of the Ghost Rider story arc. So pretty cool. And then we got Young Avengers Presents. This is number 1 from the only volume that I know of this, 2008. Story Ed Brubaker, arts Paco Medina, Juan Velasco, covers Jimmy Chung, John Dell, and Justin Ponzer. Eli, the Patriot here, he gives a school report on the Tuskegee syphilis experiment. So not the Tuskegee Airmen, well, same place, but the Tuskegee syphilis experiment, which was the inspiration for the origin of his grandfather. So historically, it was really when the creators of that, what was it called? Red, White, and Black, Truth, Red, White, and Black, number 1. So the inspiration for that was what was found out about the Tuskegee syphilis experiment. And so that became the inspiration for the origin of Isaiah Bradley, his grandfather. Yeah, so kind of cool. Totally fits into American society of that time. Not this time, but what was going on and why Isaiah Bradley would have been the first Captain America. It makes actual sense. The story ends with Bucky Barnes telling Eli stories about Jeff Mace, who was the first Patriot and the fourth Captain America. So in the chronology now, so I'm going with now, we have Isaiah Bradley, Steve Rogers, William Nashland, who was the Spirit of 76, and then Jeff Mace, who was the original Patriot, and then William Burnside, who legally changed his name to Steve Rogers. And then I guess 7th would be James Bucky Barnes, James Buchanan Barnes, technically, which is why the Bucky nickname, and he was also Winter Soldier. No, wait, that's not right. John Walker, U.S. agent, was Captain America. Then Bucky, then Sam, Falcon. Since I'm naming them, I should honorable mention Roscoe Simmons. He was an actor who stood in for Captain America, used the uniform. Also, Clint Barton. And then in the movies, I don't know if you guys know this, so movie serials were a thing. You'd see it before a movie. It was usually like 15 minutes or less, right? They were just serials, and they were cliffhanging episodes. And Captain America was one of the first done. Not the first, but one of the first done. Definitely the first time a Marvel character appeared anywhere. cinematically. And his name was Grant Gardner. He was a district attorney. Dick Purcell played him. Yeah. And then there's, of course, Reb Brown played Captain America in the other, where he was not from the 40s. And those were the two films in 79. When did I don't remember when the serial came out. I wasn't alive when the serial came out. I was alive for the others, but I wasn't alive when the serials came out. And then Matt Salinger played him in the 90 directed DVD movie. So I guess those guys get honorable mention, right? Since I was naming them. And then all new, all different Avengers, number 5. This is a second printing. Writers Mark Waid, arts Mohammed Asrar, and then the cover's Alex Ross. I didn't know it was a second printing. I didn't actually buy this one. It was a giveaway, end of the night giveaway. So pretty cool. Anyway, so it's just nice. Anyway, that was my haul from the TNA Facebook Monsters Facebook show on Friday nights, and so there'll be another one tomorrow night. So we'll see if I end up getting anything or not. All right, you guys have a wonderful day. Take care of each other.